As a young kid, I always wanted a desire for more and joy and fulfillment and happiness. I was always like searching for that energy. Through college, I felt like I fell through the cracks. There wasn't like a specific career that really lit me up. I was really doing and searching for things that really brought me fulfillment. But that career, those 40 hours a week, really felt like there was something missing. And from there, I knew right away, let me tap into this energy of energy healing. What is this other unseen world that people seemingly have access to, but I had no idea what that was. So within 6 months, I received my Reiki Master certification training, and from there, it was the divine synchronicities came. I read for 50 people for free to just really open that channel, the connection to the divine God consciousness universe. What I'm learning is everything is within us. And so if I just connect to my heart with intention, I'm accessing that realm.
And now, Dani, tell us, like, with the Akashic Records, what pain can you help other people with?
For example, I just had a client who went through a very hard breakup. And when I went into the records, there was a contract of belonging. And what I see from a high level is that.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's conversation. You may have been watching the podcast videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have ever gained value from our videos, from our conversations, it would mean so much to us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now, or even just give us a like. And what that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it allows us to bring in more important guests for you to listen to, and you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's conversation. Welcome to the Pathways Wellbeing Podcast. My name's Sophia from Sacred You, but more importantly, we have the beautiful Dani who's joining us. Welcome, Dani. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
And I'm really excited to get to know you and about this fabulous topic of Akashic Records and tuning in to all our ancestors and really delving into the Akashic Records. So tell us, Dani, tell us about your journey first of all, and how did you get to where you are now and connecting with your spirit guides?
Yes, thank you so much. Just to start off, if a listener is not aware of what the Akashic Records are, the Akashic Records are the records of all souls that ever existed, past, present, future, and it's a place where that holds all the universal wisdom and your soul blueprint. And so how I began was as a young kid, I always wanted a desire for more and joy and fulfillment and happiness. I was always like searching for that energy. And through college, I felt like I fell through the cracks. There wasn't like a specific career that really lit me up. So I just went through the rigmarole, went through all the normal things that you should, but I really felt like I fell through the cracks. And after college, I tried several jobs working for the city, doing property management, working selling hearing aids to the geriatric population. I was really doing and searching for things that really brought me fulfillment. And at that time, I identified fulfillment with career. And I would travel and hang out with friends and I would work out and I felt really fulfilled in every other aspect of my life. But that career, those 40 hours a week, really felt like there was something missing. And this led me to hire a life coach who really helped me strategize where my joys were. And for me, I love drinking wine. So she was like, you should be a wine connoisseur and get your sommelier license. And so I was really expanding to perspectives and practices I had never learned before. And so it was a really beautiful beginning of my self-development, spiritual development, and personal development journey. I stumbled upon Reiki through a recommendation through a friend, and I received a session. The girl gave me a reading, and I was left blown away. The things that she was telling me were things that either resonated so deeply in my soul that I was like crying. It like felt like a recognition of parts of me that I had been feeling but didn't know how to express. And it really showed me things that I had never spoken to anyone. And from there, I knew right away, let me tap into this energy of energy healing. What is this other unseen world that people seemingly have access to, but I had no idea what that was? And so within 6 months, I received my Reiki master certification training. And from there, it was the divine synchronicities came. I heard the Akashic Records on a podcast and I heard it 3 times. And that's how things come into my awareness. They come into my space by showing up in different ways. A neighbor had brought out the Akashic Records book the same time I heard it on a podcast. And I had never heard that word in my life before. And so this was an invitation for me to dive into what that was. And so that day I booked a reading and she was like, you need to open the Akashic Records. That next month, I was getting trained. I read for 50 people for free to just really open that channel, the connection to the divine God consciousness universe. And from there, it's history. I've just been entering the records every day, and being able to explore it on my own has been the most impactful and significant experience of this life.
It isn't it amazing how synchronicities, how the universe brings us our true path. So thank you for sharing that. It is the Akashic Records is such a rabbit warren because you can go down and explore so much. So what's been some of your most interesting experiences?
Yes. So when I first went into the records, I felt I was taught by a teacher who told us to go into past lives and heal all our karma. And, you know, you go in and you're like, what past life did I block my third eye? And then they take you there, you bring in that divine light and you heal that energy. So for the first 6 months, that was really transformative because I was also being coached and helping on a somatic level, all my trauma, all my subconscious programming and conditioning. So it was a really beautiful alignment and synchronicity that I was doing energetic work as well as like physical work to move through on this personal development journey. More recently, what I've been doing is light code activation, connection to the quantum realm, and DNA activations. And so this is not something that was ever taught to me, which now I'm learning a lot of people are also being really called to this work. But actual DNA recoding and activations are things that my guides has specifically brought me to and has really helped me honestly stay healthy. I haven't gotten sick in over a year since I started accessing this type of energy. And it's something I'm still in the beginning tapping into, but exploring it has been so profound and it helped me really ground my intelligence and my power within me.
Thank you for sharing them both of it. It is so interesting. Can we go back a little bit? And thank you for explaining what the Akashic Records are. But for people who are listening or watching who have never really experienced it, you've mentioned, Dani, about going in to the records. What really does that mean? What's the process of going into your records? And can anyone access their records?
Ooh, Sophia, this is such a good question because yes, every single human, every single person, every single being has the access and the ability to enter the Akashic Records. It's really our choice and our intention in doing so. And so for me, when I heard that word, I felt something resonant in my body. My body really lit up, and I knew I needed to explore that curiosity and really see for myself what that was. There's several ways to access it, but the way in which I guess I can describe it is it's a multidimensional space of wisdom. How do you access that? So you access that either with intention, if you have already worked with your intuition and you know how to place an intention, you meditate on that energy of the Akashic Records and you are brought up. Second way is through the heart. Your heart is a channel to the divine God consciousness, all the universal wisdom. The universe is within you. And when you learn to ground within your body, it actually opens the world up. Oftentimes, I was taught in the beginning, or I believed that the universe was outside of me and I had to go outside to find those answers and that clarity. What I'm learning is everything is within us. And so if I just connect to my heart with intention, I'm accessing that realm and I'm accessing different dimensions. And so there's There's several ways in which to do that, but I access it through meditation. I say a little prayer to ask my spirit guides to bring me to this space in which I find clarity and can ask questions and receive the answers too.
Sharing. Is it a process that people have to practice?
I believe so. So it's like a muscle, I would say. So let's say you're working out and you haven't lifted weights maybe in a couple years and you want to do like a bicep curl. This is your arms, and you can't do 50-pound weights right away. You're not strong enough. You got to start with the smaller weights. It's similar. Your channel, your energetic channel that runs through the governing meridian of your chakras, let's say if you're accessing it from your heart, that you have to open that. And so how I saw it through my third eye, through my clairvoyance in the beginning was like as if the faucet was turned on and there's just like a little trinkle coming in. And that was my channel. And the information I received was beautiful, but it was like very small. Over time, imagine that water opening all the way now. And that access that I have is so beyond anything I can ever even conceptualize on this in this plane.
Thank you again for sharing that. And when you said like your clairvoyance, was this something that you were born with? Was it naturally, even though you were you explained during college and afterwards that you were working in what we would call mundane jobs, but have you always been clairvoyant?
Yes, but I did not know what that meant. I did not know what clairs meant. I did not know that was connected to your intuition. I just knew that I would daydream a lot in class and I would create stories in my mind in these dreams. And I also knew that I had this gut response in me and like this deep knowing of something more. And so if I would meet someone that wasn't in alignment with my energy or my timeline or my path, I would feel like contractual and be like, ooh, that's not a good person. And I didn't know beyond what that was. I was just like, something in me just knows this, which is now I understand as claircognizance. And I believe every single person has the ability to open their clairs and every single person has them, but it's really understanding where your strengths and your gifts are and honing in on that one. When you open one that you are strongest in, the rest will follow.
And it is such, again, an interesting journey. And I agree with you, Danny, that every single person has the ability. In generalization, most of us are caught up in the 3D world, are caught up especially in technology these days. And I know technology is one of the things that kind of puts a bit of a blockage up, you know, when we do that. But I'd love to know about your journey with your spirit guides as well. And how did all that happen? How did you find your spirit guides?
Yeah. And so I want to touch on one thing you said before we go into spirit guides about technology. And from my Akashic records, I've been able to see that the Pleiadians, which is a star race outside of Earth, are really helping support the technology on this planet. And with intention, it's a beautiful co-creation of what we're doing. And of course, not everyone is with intention when they're co-creating AI and all those things, but just a little, just a little tidbit of like how other species or extraterrestrials are really influencing us here on Earth for the better, I think. But connecting to spirit guides has been one of the most profound experiences of my whole life. And how I did so was through my level 3 Reiki attunement. And it was so beautiful. Bring it back even further. When I was 8 years old, I had this reoccurring dream for a year. And this angel came out of the ground and was like staring at me and then just like observing me and didn't say anything. And for me, I perceived that to be scary because I was like, why is she coming out of the ground? And why is she just staring at me? And I was staring at me, staring at her from the third person, from someone outside of this experience. It was so interesting. And I perceived it to be a nightmare. And I even told my parents because to have a dream for 365 days and it just was the same part of the story I didn't understand. At my level 3 attunement, she came through with all my ancestors. And how I perceive it is in my third eye with my clairvoyance, I can see what I saw in that dream. So she's wearing the wings, the gray wings, the radiant wings with like her little pink outfit robe and her like light brown hair. And she came to me and she's like, I am your Reiki guide, your Reiki spirit guide. And I am here to help you provide you to be a vessel for this healing on earth. And if Reiki, it's 50% spirit, 50% you are the vessel channeling the energy. I'm not the one healing the clients. It's God's consciousness, source, divine, angels, all those things. And so when she came to me and revealed to me, I've been guiding you to until this point, and you were exactly where you're meant to be at every point of your life. And we're so happy you're here now. And it was this like aha moment. And I was like in tears. Like it was so beautiful. I felt so supported and loved. And that is one thing I will say. It's like your unseen family, your unseen soul family supporting you that you've known for lifetimes, but you are just maybe waking up to them in whatever moment you connect to. And so I have a council now. I have my galactic, my cosmic, I have my ancestors, I have my dragons, my fairies, like I have all these energies that I've connected to. And every single, even my spirit babies, my soul babies have come through and they're all teaching me and helping me for different aspects of my life. So, for example, my spirit babies are helping me with my business to be a spiritual mentor and really bring more awareness and consciousness and awaken more people on this planet and really be a leader in the light worker and way shower world. And then I have another, my higher self really helps me connect to like my connection to God consciousness and the divine and the compassion and love for all those around me. And then my dragon is the protector of all the realms and journeys me to different dimensions to help me facilitate different kinds of healings or see different perspectives. And so, through a combination of all these spirit guides, it's been a really beautiful gift to tap into information that I might not have access to from reading a book. And one experience that was really powerful that I want to bring up is I have this ascended master that came forward and he suddenly gave me like Qigong moves. And I
Mhm.
have them in my notebook, and I've never studied Qigong. I didn't even know what Qigong was. And I read it back even recently, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've obviously done Qigong in a different life. And this was like a doorway that opened to a different life. I wouldn't be able to know it now, even if I closed the book. This was a channeled information, and how beautiful is that?
Very beautiful, especially the practice of Qigong if you've never done it in this lifetime, but someone's come through to show you. Yes, it's incredible. And Qigong is a art where we really connect with our own energy. And you must live an incredible life, Dani. Thank you again for sharing. I'd love to know a couple of things, Dani. First of all, let's go into for people in this world who still don't quite get the Akashic Records and spirit guides and dragons and fairies and everything else, and they're a little bit skeptic. How do you approach people who basically don't believe?
Yes, I have so many people in my life with this mindset, which is, I love it. It's like an expansive energy and perspective for me. So I go back to quantum physics that everything is energy and energy cannot be created or destroyed. And so when you look at it from just like a particle standpoint to even you going to like Starbucks and someone's like in a fight court, like yelling in the corner of the room and you walk in and you're like outside, breezy, in a good mood, you walk into the room and then all of a sudden you feel like your body contracts and you feel like tension in your body and then you hear someone yelling and after and you're like, oh whoa, I feel this, my body is reacting to this way before even hearing that this couple is fighting in the corner because you felt that energy. And so it's starting from like a baseline of understanding what energy is to understanding how it actually incorporates in every aspect of our lives. So I was in a car accident in 2013 and my car was totaled. I was driving, but I was like stopped and the car just kept going at full speed because he didn't see that there was like someone turning in front of me. And I had severe pain for almost a decade. I was seeing chiropractors on and off, and they told me, you will be in pain forever. And I just knew something was like, that was not correct for me. That didn't feel in alignment. And so I would see chiropractors, I would see orthopedic surgeons, and I just was in pain so much. I would have to roll out of bed. I couldn't turn my neck most days. It was really bad. And so this is my physical body that's happening to. That's happening to. And so I would work out, I would do stretches. I was in the most fit shape of my entire life, going to the gym every day, incorporating all these practices, yet I was still not healing. And until I went to see an energy chiropractor who in which I would go and he wouldn't even touch me to make alignments. He would just move energy is what he would say. And after seeing him for 6 months, and then, of course, I continued for a year and a half. I am completely pain free. I know all the pain that is in my body is all emotional. It's all energy that I am storing. And so I began to learn that there was a connection between your energy, your chakras, and the physical reality in which you are living in. And now I understand. Your nervous system is how you process all your emotions and your feelings. And if your nervous system is not regulated and you are in fight or flight, you're holding on to every traumatic experience and every hurt feeling and every angry moment instead of processing it because your body is meant to process that within 90 seconds. And if you are not, you are holding it. And if you are storing it in your body, that is energy that is blocking that freedom within your body, the cells moving quickly, that energy moving. The energy is supposed to be moving down your meridians from the top of your head to the bottom like a river. If there's any stagnancies, there's a blockage. And that's where Reiki comes in and this nervous system regulation and empowerment coaching. And so there are physical things that you can do to help assist the energetic and unseen worlds.
Yes, yeah, there is, isn't there? And the whole energy system is incredible. And again, I totally agree with you. You're speaking my language, how we block all our emotions, we suppress our emotions, which therefore, if we don't express or transform our emotions, we suppress them and we manifest things within our body and situations that causes pain. And it's like our body's way of telling us you've got a blockage there, you've got something that needs to be released and expressed. Yeah, it's an incredible, another conversation just about energy blockages and what you can do to release them because there are many different things. And congratulations on finding a chiropractor that works with energy, doesn't even manipulate you physically, but manipulates the energy and moves that. That would have been an incredible experience when you release that. So thank you. And now, Dani, tell us, like with the Akashic Records and what you offer and your spirit guides and everything, how does the Akashic Records help us in our daily life? And what issues or what problems, what pain points, talking of pain, but not just the physical pain, the emotional pain, our life pain. What pain can you help other people with, and how do they overcome that?
Yeah, so the one thing that is so practical that the Akashic Records gives you is the next intelligent step and the lesson that you're learning from that experience, which really helps shift your perspective on the experience that you're having. For example, I just had a client who went through a very hard breakup. She's like, I just wasted all this time. Why did I even meet him? All this like regret and obviously sadness and grief and all those things. And when I went into the records, there was a contract of belonging and there was a contract of her throat chakra being able to speak her truth in relationship and partnership. And what I see from a high level is that their two souls decided that they were going to get together and break up so that they can learn how to communicate and how to open their throat chakras and lean into their authenticity. And so in a practical sense, you understand that this situation actually was really beneficial and I needed to learn this lesson so that I can find more truth within myself, learn how to speak my truth in partnership so that in the next relationship that I become or I attract and I'm in, I know how to do that. So perspective shifting with lessons is really beautiful because once she learned that and it really resonated with her, she felt more grace to move forward instead of regret from looking backwards. The next thing is what's the next intelligence step, right? So if you have a desire or a curiosity in your life, that is your higher self and your soul telling you that you will find the most joy and fulfillment in that thing. And so if you, and it can be overwhelming. Like when I was searching for jobs, I was like, what is the next, what am I meant to do in this lifetime? And I was looking and looking, and it can be very overwhelming to look at 30 years ahead. But if you just look at that one thing and you ask them, what's the one thing I need to focus on? And they'll drop it in. They'll drop in, oh, you should take this yoga teacher training from this specific person so that later on you can teach people about their body or something. Because later on you're actually going to become a chiropractor or something. And like this is actually the step. It's not directly, but you need this experience, with the holistic part of you. And so it really teaches you the practical things that you need to do. And okay, where do I need to focus my energy so that I can be in most of my joy and most in my happiness in this moment? And they reveal it to you in a beautiful way if you really listen.
Yeah, and that would be an amazing experience in knowing, being guided to what's your next step, an easier way of trying to sit down there and figure it all out, which we tend to as human beings, we overcomplicate things. We actually have, yes, all the answers there. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this. Now, I do want to ask you, Dani, you mentioned about the contracts in your experience in your clients. Tell us about the contracts that we make before we take birth.
A soul contract is an energetic, how I see it is in like an energetic bond between you and either an experience or a person or a situation that is meant to take place for you to learn a lesson and evolve. Our soul chooses to reincarnate so it can know itself more, learn how to evolve. It's like an expanded level of consciousness to expand into divine consciousness. And so these contracts are formed. And I guess this kind of leads into, right, like destiny or free will, which that's, I know, a whole nother topic. But just when you're looking at the soul contract, if you choose to negate the lesson or avoid it, it will come back as like a pattern or a cycle in a different situation or a different relationship. And so oftentimes if like you're attracting the same person who doesn't listen to you and doesn't take care of you or something like that, there's like a pattern there in which you need to address. And so a contract is a beautiful opportunity for you to evolve and grow if you choose to look at it from that way.
Wonderful way of explaining things, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in this world that's experienced those patterns in all different things, especially in relationships. You attract the same person, the same type of person, but also in just situations, it's like you sit and think this has happened before. So obviously there is a lesson there that I haven't learned. Yeah, again, an incredible experience and stuff. You must live a very interesting life now. So much different from selling hearing aids and being in corporate America. So much different. And I'd love to know, Dani, what is one piece of wisdom from your journey, learning from your journey, that you could share with our listeners, for those who are watching or listening, that has helped you to find balance and well-being in your life?
The one advice that's coming through right now is that have patience. You are exactly where you're meant to be right now. When I look at a soul's purpose, you have, let's say, roughly, we're meant to live, let's say 100 years, but let's say 50 to 100 years to live out your purpose. You can do nothing. You can be sleeping, lack of awareness and consciousness for 80, 90% of your life. And then you decide to live out at the end of your life this like abundance and open perspective. And that is okay. So just know if you are living with your heart and just with intention, and what that means is just like connecting to your heart and being like, my intention is to live today with unconditional love and offer everyone I meet unconditional love in everything I do, say, and be. As simple as that. If you are just intentional with how you live, you are doing everything right and you're exactly where you're meant to be.
Living with intention. I love that. I'm going to write that down. Thank you. And what about, what's a question, a simple question, but all a powerful question that we can all ask ourselves on a probably daily basis to help us align with our pathway to well-being, our path of our own well-being?
I ask myself every day, or ask the Akashic Records, where should I focus my energy today? And you can rephrase that word however it aligns with you, because when you ask the Akashic Records questions, you'll get different answers according to how they're structured. So, where should I focus my energy today? What's the next intelligent step? What lesson am I learning from this experience? Yeah, those are, I ended up going with three, but yeah, those would be the top, I would say.
Where shall I focus my energy today? So true, because we're thinking so much in this world. Again, as a generalization, most of us are thinking all about the past or the future, but not considering the present and not considering on focusing on one thing. We've got a minefield of everything else that we want to do, rather than just like, where do I focus my attention on now, on today? And just really allow that to come through. Thank you.
And it's okay if it's rest. I will say it's okay if it's resting. That's so powerful.
And now obviously you do readings for people.
Yes, so my signature offer is the soul reading within the Akashic Records, and it's such a beautiful reading that goes over your path, where you're on your timeline, on your highest timeline, maybe whatever spirit guides are wanting to connect with you at this time, any guidance on where you are on your path, your soul's purpose, your earthly purpose, and then any questions that you might have. And it's a really beautiful, I would say, energetic opening and like soul blueprint for where you should be going or any clarity that needs to be brought to the surface. And so I do offer those, and I'll send you the link, Sophia, for if any of your listeners want to book a session. It's an hour session. And if you want to book like a 30-minute follow-up later, that's something that's offered as well.
Good. And of course, we will be putting all your links in the comments. So for everyone who is watching or listening, do click on those links below and book a reading with Dani, because you never know the wisdom that will come out. And especially for people who are feeling a little bit stuck in their journey, not knowing what to do, not knowing why we come here. That's a big thing that I've experienced. Again, especially she growing up, as you've experienced, any, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Where the Akashic Records can help us all with that. And all these little contracts that we made before we took this body. And you go, what the? So thank you for sharing that, Dani. And before we wrap up, can I ask you, is there any question that I could have asked you? And how would have you answered? Is there anything else that you would like to share?
One thing I will say is if this feels very abstract to you and just way out there and like, oh, she can do it, other people can do it. No, I want to tell you, you can do it. If you feel called to this, you can do it. It's more simple than you think. And when you lean into that simplicity and your inner knowing from your heart, your personal vessel, and really loving that part of you, anything is possible.
And it's so true. So true. Anything is possible when you lean into it. And I love it how you mentioned when you lean into your heart, which is, for me, it's the vessel, and vessel isn't even the word, even the right word, but it's that incredible space within that holds all our wisdom, all our knowing. And when we lean into that, we have all the answers for everything that we ever need. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Pathways to Wellbeing. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I'd love for you to come back and we can continue this whole journey about the Akashic Records, and really also getting into spirit guides too, even more, and how other people can really access them and the benefits that you've got, even more benefits. But for now, thank you so much, Dani.
Thank you, Sophia. It's been so absolutely lovely.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. I do hope this conversation with Dani has really inspired you to take this journey of looking into your Akashic Records. And if you'd like more information on how to access your Akashic Records, or if you'd even like to experience a reading, do click on the links below and reach out to Dani. Now, if you are looking for a supportive community to continue your journey, join us at Sacred You, a space for connection, empowerment, and growth. Subscribe to this podcast, follow us on social media, and be part of a global movement creating meaningful change by visiting our website at www.sacredu, that's the letter U, .love. Your well-being, your life is in your hands. And as Dani says, it's time that we start living our life with intention. So stay inspired, stay connected, and until next time, keep walking your pathway to well-being.